Vero Beach Museum of Art is really a pillar of this community. It's one of the things that really makes this a special place to live.
When we came to Vero Beach from New York City, I knew that I was going to miss all the culture that we have in New York. And Doug ran down here and collected every bit of information, and I immediately got involved. I think when you work for a cultural institution in a new community, it gives you the opportunity to meet people who love the same things that you do, and it just gives you a wonderful opportunity to make friends.
My time as a trustee has given me an opportunity to understand the depth and breadth of the offerings of this institution, the things that involve the children, that involve senior citizens, that involve Barrier Island residents. It's given me a greater appreciation of all the things that this museum does bring to the community. One of the really important things about the growth of the endowment of the Vero Beach Museum of Art, it's going to enable us, as time goes on, to provide more and more programming. The beauty of endowment is it's there, every year, which is going to allow us to keep increasing quality in everything we do.
Our community would be a much, much different place without the Vero Beach Museum of Art.
Our founders invested in the community to create what they hoped would be a cultural epicenter, a place for enrichment and education, a place to connect with each other and our community, a place to experience other cultures and travel the world without having to ever leave the Treasure Coast. They envisioned an institution that would grow and evolve right along with our community, that would continually respond to the needs and interests of residents and visitors alike. An institution whose mission reaches far beyond the walls of our galleries and into the lives of individuals and families of Indian River County. We have celebrated so many important milestones in our history. We've come from a local arts center to an accredited museum. We're growing our permanent collection. We've expanded our facility, and most of all, we're deepening our partnerships in the community. With each milestone, we've built on our strengths and accomplishments, allowing us to aim even higher, leading us toward a vision of being nationally recognized as one of the premier regional museums in the United States. Each of you has ensured the achievement of that vision through your support. The investment you made today will generate returns long into the future.
Early in my tenure, we identified the need for an expansion of the physical facility, especially in terms of back of house. It wasn't adequate. It was way below professional standards that have been established by the field. We had no covered loading dock. We needed to upgrade our temperature and humidity control. There were so many basic things that were needed.
2 hurricanes in 2004, which really underlined the need to make the building and the back of house much more secure.
Ultimately, it took a couple of years to finish, but we ended up with everything that we needed. We have our covered loading dock, we have our generator, we have a state-of-the-art facility for not only storing the art, but preparing the art for exhibitions. We had a couple of perks where we also created the atrium, which is a beautiful addition, the Buck Atrium. We put a special vestibule on the front of the building, the Thompson Vestibule, and we also created a new Beckwith Sculpture Park at the front of the museum that just enhanced the entrance tremendously.
Basically, with a couple of major gifts, really, we got the whole project funded. It was quite an accomplishment. We'd always thought that we had to have an endowment phase with the capital campaign. Having a strong endowment really creates the foundation for delivering the mission of the museum. And it gives us the confidence to do that year in and year out through different economic cycles. We can be a lot more entrepreneurial in organizing our exhibitions, more innovative with our humanities and education program, and we can do a lot more to make art and education about art more accessible for the community.
It's remarkable to see the growth of this museum over the past 30 years, particularly in terms of exhibitions that have put us on the map. And this is central to our mission, enriching lives around experiencing great art. Our collections and exhibitions are at the heart of the museum's mission. As a museum director, art is a way of life for me. It represents a rare intersection of entertainment and enlightenment, and it makes us aware of our common humanity. Museums are fundamentally a forum, a place for meeting, for discussions, and shared experiences around art. Museums enrich our lives. To lead an institution that has become a cornerstone of the community in such a short period of time is a great honor. Our visitors, donors, and community support this museum in so many ways, whether it's through admissions, volunteer time, becoming a member, taking a class, shopping in the museum store, or attending one of our great events. Vero Beach gets it. But our patrons do more than support, they invest. And with the most recent expansion and endowment campaigns, that investment is paying off. We're now able to present exhibitions with loans from major museums worldwide. We've raised the bar and it's making us more competitive on a national level. Yes, we've come a long way, but what's more exciting is where we're going. The future is rich with opportunities to extend the artistic experience and to elevate our programs in order to meet the needs and interests of visitors of all ages through innovative arts and humanities programs.
One of the things that I think about a lot as a mom raising a kid in today's digital world is, always looking for ways that I can unplug from technology and really plug in with my kid and spend, that one-on-one, face-to-face, quality, real, genuine human time. When we first started coming to the museum, Finn was 1 year old. He had just started walking. So we started coming for the Art Babies program. A few months back, we were sitting on the couch looking through a magazine, and there were some pictures of space. And he was very excited about it. He kept pointing to it, and he was doing the sign for stars. And then I realized we had visited the NASA exhibit here at the museum several times, and that was where he first learned the sign for stars. That was like one of those moments for me that solidified that the time that we spend here at the museum was having more broad impact on him than I could have even imagined. Having already seen him grow so much just in the short time that we've been attending Art Babies and Artful Storytime, and now the toddler tours, I can't wait to see what he learns next and to watch him grow up. So we know that we'll be here and that we'll be spending much more time as we grow as a family.
The humanities is about much more than just looking at a painting or a sculpture or a work of art. It is basically human stories. It's an opportunity for people to tell their story via many different mediums. It can be film, it can be literature. One of the great features of the International Lecture Series is that you have the opportunity for a Q&A, and then you also have the opportunity to meet the speaker afterwards at a reception and to chat with other people who have gathered to listen to the speaker. So it's a much more meaningful way to participate in the community rather than just watching something online or on television at home alone. One of the things that I most enjoy about the Film Studies program is they are small films with big themes. They are character driven, they're international, or they are independent. They are films that I would have enjoyed had I continued to live in New York City. In fact, that was one of my favorite pastimes there. It's wonderful that I don't feel deprived of those experiences here in Vero Beach.
The museum's partnership with Beachland Elementary School has been invaluable. The students have learned to incorporate art into the reading and writing aspect of our curriculum, and it brings to life some two-dimensional words on a page, and it really helps them understand the text that we're reading. The museum tours impact the students' lives in a way that learning in a classroom can't. It makes them wonder, and it makes them curious. And it really helps them connect and make them realize they're part of a bigger picture.
My favorite subject is art because I can display my imagination. My favorite thing about visiting the museum is about the little sculpture made out of chopsticks and forks, and it can change it to anything you want it to be.
I like to draw because it gives me a passion and pride inside. It makes me feel good about myself.
Art has always been important to me, whether it's visual art like painting, sculpture, or performing art, which is really what I do. And I started very young, like the age of a lot of my kids, 7, 8, and I really wanted to be involved because I remembered how impactful my counselors and my volunteers were for me when I was in camp. My time at the museum has impacted my future in, I'd say, a number of ways. I've taken an interest in child education, specifically working with the sort of programs that we do here, teaching kids about forms of art. It's also sort of sparked my interest in arts administration. It's so important to be able to work with the arts and help preserve what can be, honestly, an underappreciated part of our society and our history.
We've had a good partnership with the museum now for many years, starting with an afternoon at the museum, which is for folks with dementia and their caregivers. And then our Movement at the Museum program has the same effect for those with movement disorders. It brings you together doing something good for yourself while you're feeling good, you're reacting to the music, so it's hitting you emotionally, it's hitting you socially because you're connecting. With each of these diseases, with each of these disorders, the thing that doesn't change is their emotion. Those stay. And so when we're working with folks with dementia, that's what we communicate with. When we're doing something with art or with music, that speaks to them. And we see all of this as not just something that raises the whole community, but as we collaborate in our partnership, we know that we aren't duplicating any services. Our donors can all know that we are using funds very efficiently because we are meeting each other and helping the whole community together. And it works out beautifully.
Well, I guess one of our favorite moments was when we were able to make a purchase. In fact, there were 2 purchases of paintings, which we knew was very important for the museum permanent collection, which is the Poppy Hat by William Glackens. So we were very excited about that. And then a year ago, we went down to the show down in Palm Beach. We saw this painting by Pothouse called The Carriage at the Beach, and so we bought that also for the museum.
I remember that was quite a surprise. I was leaving the museum after the Athena dinner, and people came up and said, "Oh, Bill, that was wonderful what you did." I said, "Well, what did we do?" "Oh, your wife bought the Poppy." I said, "She did?" I said, "Well, that's very nice. I'm glad you told me." We were in the museum one day chatting with Cindy, and she said, "Bill, if you really want to do something, we should enclose that atrium. It's just really almost useless space. The weather is always a factor. We can never really plan anything." I said, "Well, Cindy, I said something, so I guess I better stand by it." And Laura and I decided we would do that, and I think it's wonderful to see the way it's been used ever since. Well, a number of years ago, my wife was having a significant birthday, and our 3 daughters decided that they wanted to do something in her honor. They knew that the Vero Beach Museum of Art was very important in her life. So they said to me, "How about if we set up a nice endowment gift for the museum so we can bring in many nice exhibitions?" And I said I thought it was a wonderful idea. And later on, then I added to that because I knew that endowment was important for exhibitions.
We feel that giving back is one of the most important responsibilities that we can have.
The first time I walked in and saw Saltbox, I remember seeing a wooden statue of a horse, which was amazing to me because in Boy Scouts we always built stuff out of wood, and none of it ever turned out like that. My family was at the beach, and as always there's driftwood laying around, and I remember just picking up pieces of wood and starting to put them together and realizing that I had enough to make some sort of horse just like I had seen in the museum. From a young age I had always been around artists. My mom is an artist, and so I remember going to different galleries and different workshops. And I just remember it really opened up a lot of creative options for me. I think a lot of people growing up are told what's possible and what's not, and I think that seeing the art and kind of being inspired from that and doing activities based on the art, like building something on the beach or taking the time to sit down and do a painting, that's something that was really empowering for me at a young age. Art pushes the boundaries of what's possible and shows people you can really do interesting things. And I think that expands kids' view of what they can do and allows them to pursue opportunities that they might not otherwise pursue.
I want to thank all of you for your participation in this campaign. Thank you for being a part of the future.